Hello everybody, Tzilla here, and today we are on part 4. This is part 4 of me ranking pretty much all of the Monsterverse monster designs. Today we are going through all of the original Monsterverse Titans, and the criteria for this are basically no comics, no TV shows, just movies for this list. And if you're wondering where the Skullcrawler or Drowned Viper are, we are saving those for the Hollow Earth and Skull Island creature tier list. So let's just get into it. We got all of the monsters on the bottom here. I'll go through them quick. 2014 introduced the male and female Muto. King of the Monsters gave us Behemoth, the Queen Muto, Scylla, Methuselah. GVK gave us Doug. If you're wondering why I'm ranking Doug in this tier list, I figured he's enough of a character and people like him enough. I might as well just group him in with the other main Titans. Then with GXK, we get Doug again, Scylla, Scar King, and Shimo. So, starting off with the male Muto, I think this is a instant S tier design. In fact, I think I'll put it above the Monsterverse Mechagodzilla. I think the male Muto is an absolutely perfect design. It's creepy, it's natural, it's beautiful in a weird way. I just think Gareth Edwards and his team knocked it out of the park with the Muto designs. And I prefer the male Muto a lot over the female Muto. So going on to the female Muto, we're going to put her... honestly, right below the Mechagodzilla. I'll explain kind of why right now. I think the male Muto, like I said, is just perfect, and I love the female Muto, and I think it's a perfect counterpart, but to me it does fall into the little bit more generic side with it being a giant spider per se. I still love this design. It's still an S tier. Don't think I'm throwing any shade at it. I love the Mutos, but I think I'm just going to put her under Mechagodzilla for me. I love that Mechagodzilla so much, so it hurts me to put him below the male Muto already, so Mechagodzilla will get the middle spot between the Mutos for S tier. Moving on to King of the Monsters kaiju, we got Behemoth. And I know I'm going to make people mad, but I do not care for Behemoth. I don't like the design, I'm sorry. It's a giant ground sloth mammoth thing. It's a cool idea. I do like the idea of Behemoth, but it's just not a design that works with me, I'm sorry. It's going at the bottom of D tier. Actually, yeah, I don't care for him at all. I'm one of the few people that's glad he hasn't reappeared. I like the other monsters a lot more. I'm glad we had Scylla reappearing instead of him. I find him boring, but that's just my opinion. I prefer insects and reptiles for my kaiju, so there's also that bias playing into it. But moving on to the Queen Muto, I do not like what they did to this. Is it ruining the design? No. But I think the extra features were kind of just unnecessary, but at the end of the day, it is still the Muto design, and even with those additional changes, it still has that core Muto. Those changes are going to knock it out of S tier though, and this design is going at the top of A tier for me. Now moving on to Scylla. Scylla is one of my favorite Monsterverse kaiju. I think she is so cool. It's a giant spider that's not really a spider. It's kind of like a crab, but it's also a squid. It's a weird animal, and I really like her as a giant monster. In King of the Monsters, I thought her design was pretty solid. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I don't know if I'd... Actually, I think Scylla is going to go at the bottom of A tier for me. I just really like that design. I think it's unique and original while still being a great homage to things like Tarantula. Great design, great original monster. Methuselah, here's another monster I don't care for. I didn't really like Methuselah. He's big and blocky, he doesn't do much. I'll put him above Behemoth, but I did not care for this monster, and I think a lot of that goes with the presentation of the monsters in King of the Monsters. We barely get to see him. He felt very pointless to me, and I know now Methuselah is caught in some weird copyright struggle thing, so it looks like we might never see him again. I'm glad he showed up, but I'll be honest, I'm not going to miss him. Moving on to Doug. Doug is just going to go into S tier. Both of the designs. I don't know if they're really that different. They're both perfect. I'm not going to put Doug above anyone else. Just, he's going to be the bottom of our S tier no matter what. Just, he's Doug. He gets S tier automatically, but he's not going above Kong, Godzilla, or the Mutos or anything. Moving on to Scylla from Godzilla x Kong. I really like how they upgraded her design in this. I'm actually going to put it right behind the GXK Mothra. I think the red colors fit a lot more with this sea creature, crustacean creature, spider, squid thing. She looked a lot like a crawfish to me, at least the color of her skin and stuff. I really liked the more red, and I like that she could shoot webs in this movie. I don't know if she could in King of the Monsters. If she could, they didn't show it, but that was a cool ability, and her short fight with Godzilla was definitely a great way to start that movie. Middle of A tier for GXK Scylla. We are now on to the final two Titans. I'm going to do the YouTuber thing now. Please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know what tier lists you want down in the comments. I'll do like any kind of Godzilla tier list. I'll rank all the Reiwa movies, all the Reiwa designs, Millennium designs. Just let me know down in the comments and I will get to that. But for our final two, we have Scar King and Shimo. Now, Scar King as a character, I want to put him in S and stuff, but we're kind of more looking at the designs and how the design was shown off in the movie for this list. And I think Scar King is going to go right under Rodan. He's a great new kaiju. He's a great antagonist to Kong, a great lanky Kong, quite literally. And I love the whip weapon. His white eyes were a nice touch too, and it was cool to see a Titan that was portrayed as like a human character almost in his evil acts. He was a dictator. He had slaves. He had other apes doing his work. He wanted power. He wanted to conquer the surface. It felt great, and to me it felt like everything Ghidorah was supposed to be, but so much better. Now I know Scar King isn't nearly as powerful as Ghidorah, but that's where his secret weapon and our next kaiju comes in, Shimo. Shimo is one of the best kaiju in my opinion. I think she's awesome. She's this ancient weapon of a monster that can end the entire world. I love her. I love her sympathetic side. The fact that she's being used against her will by Scar King. He's forcing her to fight alongside him with pain. That was great. And when Shimo finally got freed in the movie, that was a wonderful scene too. To see her finally all happy and free with the Kongs. Now going into just the design, sorry I didn't mean to ramble on about Shimo, I just love that monster. She really reminds me of like an old Toho design, like Varan or Baragon, something like that. I really like Shimo's design. I love the colors, the rainbowy iridescence that her scales have when light goes off of it. If you weren't able to tell from me going on and on, Shimo is going in S tier, and I think Shimo is going to go right there above Monsterverse Mechagodzilla. If you're wondering why, it's because Shimo is the one American kaiju that feels like a Toho kaiju to me. Now, I know that might be a hot take, maybe I'm crazy for saying that, but Shimo just feels like something Toho would have created back in the 60s or 70s, in my opinion. She just feels like that, so there is the tier list with all of the original Monsterverse monsters added. Next, we're going to do, I think, the Monarch Legacy of Monsters, and then we're going to get into Skull Island and Hollow Earth and whatever else. If you guys have a suggestion for a tier list or want me to do a different tier list, go ahead and let me know down in those comments. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Just try to keep it nice in the comments. And other than that, thank you so much for watching to the end, and I will see you in the next video.